Soundstripe.
Johnson, the former Cowboy coach, back to Mavericks. Wow. Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks are going to the Western Conference Finals.
Soundstripe.
We've got some words.
The NBA is an ever-changing league, and a lot of times teams have 1 to 2 years there where they're at the top of the game. We've seen dynasties come and go very quickly. We've seen teams win a championship and fall off the face of the planet, much like the Dallas Mavericks had back in 2011 after they beat the Heat. After that, up until Luka, they were a bad team. They were never back in the finals. They weren't even really close, frankly. And this can happen to anybody. I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks, my favorite team, could very easily never make it to a finals again in the next 50 years. We never know. You only have a few opportunities, and when you're as close as you are, and when you're as close as the Phoenix Suns have been both times these past 2 years, you have to feel like your window of opportunity might have just slammed in your door, or your door in your face, because, man, the Suns blew it this year and last year. Last year, up 2-0 against the Milwaukee Bucks, lose 4 straight. You have plenty of opportunities for those games to turn around. Mental errors, physical errors, just really lost them that series. Then you come into this week, or this year, this playoff, I don't know why I said this week, you come in against a lesser Pelicans team, you lose 2 games, okay, you make it 3, 4-2, you win in 6. Then you come in against the Mavericks, you win the first game. Dallas is playing hard though. They come out here, they force you to a game 7, and you put up the game that you did in that 7-game series. I mean, you have to feel embarrassed. And on top of that, this offseason could be the biggest make or break for the Phoenix Suns. Now, we have a little bit of options for them to look into, or they have a little bit of options to look into, but there's a lot of problems with this team, and likely they're not going to be able to resolve all of them. One of the biggest ones is DeAndre Ayton, a guy that's probably up for a super max, not a super max, but a max extension, something the Suns likely don't want to give to him. So they're going to have to look for a trade, whether that's Rudy Gobert, whether it's Miles Turner, whether it's Clint Capella. I mean, the Suns have to look for somebody. And I mean, DeAndre Ayton's a guy that I feel like, if given the right role, something that he wasn't given in Phoenix, given the role as the second offensive option, a guy in pick and rolls constantly, a guy that you allow to run the screen through, he can be a top player in the NBA and one of the better centers in the NBA if he's given that role. But the Suns did not run the offense through him enough to allow him to get to the peak play that I believe he can get to, and that's why they're probably going to have to let go of him, because they know the offense doesn't run as smooth as it should when he's on the floor, because they don't have it built the right way for him to be able to be that center he was when he was drafted number 1 overall. So there goes DeAndre Ayton if they trade him. They may re-sign him, and if they do, good for the Suns, because that's a guy that I don't think you can let go. And once they do, they're going to regret it if they end up trading him, no matter who they get in return. The only one I would accept if I was the Suns is Rudy Gobert, just because of how much impact he has on defense. And you also don't have to worry about the offensive side of the ball with him, because he doesn't care about offense. So that's one issue with the Suns that I feel like might give up their chances at a championship. Second up, the biggest one in the room, Chris Paul. Chris Paul is old as dirt. He's aging. He's continuing to get worse, in my opinion. After a terrific regular season, it just looked like he was tired. We saw his body start to shut down. Just minor bruises and nicks and cuts and just injuries that look like they might sideline him for a little bit more. Yeah, he was able to fight through some of them, but he did miss some games. He missed a lot of the regular season as well with injuries. So Chris Paul is not getting any younger. The Suns have not won a championship yet. They've had 2 years and 2 amazing opportunities to get there and win it, but they have come short both times, and Chris Paul is only getting older. He's only going to continue to get worse. Obviously, his playmaking will always be there, but the shooting, the defense, all of that, the toughness, the physicality, it's going to get worse. And if they don't hurry up and get back into the finals next year or the year after, I think that's completely it. And maybe, just maybe, the Suns look to trade Paul this offseason. I don't think they will, considering the whole Ayton situation. You'd like to have Paul back, at least if you're going to trade another one of your best 3 players on the roster. But you've got to look into something to get Chris Paul maybe a guy that can relieve him a little better, maybe a guy that can come in and be that third option or second option over Chris Paul, and you just give him the opportunity to play make, the opportunity to play defense, just be a leader, a veteran presence on the team. But that's one of the other things that might affect their next season. My main third point is, if I could speak English, I meant to say my third main point. I said it backwards and I said it all kinds of different ways. Sometimes when I try to speak in these videos, my brain says one thing, but my mouth just says something that I've never said in my life before, something that no human being would say when they're talking, and that's just interesting to understand the psychology behind that. But my third main point, as I struggle to say it again, is their role players have to step it up. Cam Johnson had the best year of his career this year, but he wasn't there in the playoffs. Mikal Bridges, I love him. He played great in the playoffs compared to other players. In that Game 7, he was the only guy that showed up, and he can't consistently do that, but I know he can do that at some scale, or at least somewhat consistently. So Mikal Bridges is the only guy that I think is safe. Cam Payne, after coming off of a terrific year last year from being one of the worst point guards in the NBA, maybe the worst point guard actually getting playing time, to a guy that's playing quality minutes on a finals-bound team. And I'll even say quality minutes in the finals. He had a few games there where he played solid against the Bucks in the finals last year. He played terrible this year. He did not have a good season. He had an even worse playoff run compared to his regular season, which was already bad. And then Jay Crowder, a guy that they're likely not going to be able to afford to re-sign because of Cam Johnson. Jay Crowder is a lot of that defensive DNA, a lot of that shooting on that role player, or on their role players' bench role, but he's likely going to be gone. There's no way they have enough money to re-sign him and Ayton and Cam Johnson. So it's a big opportunity that Jay Crowder is going to be gone this offseason and leave the Suns with a massive hole in their rotation. JaVale McGee's getting older. They're just not in a good situation overall. How do you guys feel about the Suns? This was just a short video talking about all of their issues. Maybe we'll go in more depth as we hear more about each situation. But I think the Suns' window to win the championship, or to even make a run for it, might be completely closed right before our eyes after these two dominant seasons. They have likely lost their chance, in my opinion, and it's interesting to see if they're going to prove me wrong, or if they're going to be back in the finals anytime soon. How do you guys feel about the Suns? Will they be back next year? Will they be as good as they have been? I don't know what's going to be happening with Ayton. What do you guys think about that situation? Maybe we'll talk about that in another video in a few days. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Turn post notifications on too, so you never miss a video. As always, I'll see you guys next time.